Let's go into Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt F1 is coming out soon, so this should be pretty interesting. I'm going to kind of go over his previous films, what he's got coming up next, and we'll talk a little bit about F1 and some other projects that never really came to be. Okay, let's go into the first article.
So from Entertainment Weekly, the 14 best Brad Pitt movies from Fight Club to Moneyball. Whether he's playing a vampire opposite Tom Cruise or giving an Oscar-winning performance as Cliff Booth, these are the A-list movie stars' career highlights.
Yeah, and when he wasn't cashing in, taking big budget roles to just kind of make some money, and he was making smart selections like 12 Monkeys, Fight Clubs, these are some of the all-time classics. Just absolute great movies. He represents what masculinity once was and what Hollywood seems to be unable to manufacture in the modern sense. Okay, let's go into this list, and we'll just stick to the titles here, and I'll talk a little bit about some of them.
So 12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys. This has to be my second favorite Brad Pitt movie. This was with Bruce Willis. After Fight Club, this is it. I absolutely love thrillers, movies with twists. This had more than just a few twists. Okay, let's keep going down here.
Ad Astra.
Yeah, I think they're going to go from least to most, at least in their opinion, although I would have put 12 Monkeys near the top.
The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, 2007.
Yeah, and we're going to see Brad Pitt really has a diversity of film roles. He wasn't just an action star or put in romantic films, things like that. He did everything. Let's keep going.
Burn After Reading, 2008.
Yeah, and I didn't think he was that great in this. I mean, he was good, but this was a comedy. I don't really think he shines in comedies as much as his more dramatic roles or his thrillers.
The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, 2008.
This was good as well. It had these twists, and he reversed age in this thing. It was really groundbreaking for the time in Hollywood.
Fight Club, 1999.
And that's my all-time favorite. How did you feel about Fight Club?
That's my favorite too. I read because I love the novel. I read the novel first by Chuck Palahniuk, and then I can quote the movie by heart.
And Brad Pitt was absolutely phenomenal in there, and Edward Norton was the perfect casting to play the counterpart to that, and the twist at the end was unbelievable. There are talks of Fight Club Part 2. There's no way they're going to match the first one. No. Okay, let's continue to go down here.
Inglourious Basterds, 2009.
Yeah, and this was big because this was Quentin Tarantino, and there's rumors of Brad Pitt perhaps being in Quentin Tarantino's last film. Let's continue to go down here.
Interview with the Vampire, 1994.
I almost forgot about this. This had to be one of my favorite movies as well. This was Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. They were recently rumored to be in another movie together, but they couldn't afford both actors in a single film. At this point, maybe they were a little bit cheaper to get because Brad Pitt was just emerging in his career.
Meet Joe Black, 1998.
This was for the women. I didn't like it quite as much, but it still did have a little bit of twists and turns in this. So I did watch this. Not one of my favorites, but not a bad movie. Even when I don't like Brad Pitt movies, they seem to be solid.
Moneyball, 2011.
This was fantastic. I mean, this really was the coming out of Jonah Hill in this, but Brad Pitt played this fantastically. This was a good selection by him. It was a little bit different than all of his other movies. He can play average Joe very well, but he can also play very specific characters like a vampire or other things like this. Let's continue to go down here. That may be the last one. Oh, Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, 2019.
And we can see he's building a relationship with Quentin Tarantino, and this is turning out very well for him. I didn't necessarily like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that much. I actually didn't like it, but Brad Pitt was excellent in it for the role he did play.
A River Runs Through It, 1992.
And this is older. I maybe haven't seen this one, or this is right around the time I was watching a lot of movies, so maybe I just don't remember it. Let's actually read a little bit about that.
In this novella-inspired Montana-set film, Pitt plays Paul McLean, the son of a reverend and younger brother of academic Norman Craig Schaefer. The movie, directed by Robert Redford, is a beautiful slice-of-life vignette, complete with a story of family, companionship, love, and loss.
Okay, probably why I didn't watch that one. Let's continue to go down. And this was one of my
7.
other favorite movies. I mean, when Brad Pitt plays in a thriller, that's when he's really at his best. The 12 Monkeys, 7, man, these were fantastic movies. Fight Club.
Snatch, 2000.
And this was just a good role. This was different than anything else he did. He really fit the role of a gypsy in this movie. It was fantastic.
And that's it.
Okay, let's go into the article I grabbed. And this was about F1 coming up. And this is kind of why I'm showing Brad Pitt. And if we look at his variety of roles, he really did every role very well, whether it was romantic, whether it was a thriller, whether it was a comedy. He isn't manufactured masculinity. He really fits the role in every type of film he's in.
Pitt, so from The Guardian, Brad Pitt in the paddock, how F1 movie went deep to keep fans coming. F1 and Liberty Media went to great lengths to assist filming with Star's APX team embedded within the sport.
Yeah, and I kind of grabbed this article so we can see a look behind the scenes of his new film, F1, and they really committed to this. I watched the trailer during Mission Impossible. It looked fantastic. I am planning to go to the theaters and watch this. Hopefully I can get some time. I'm editing 3 videos a day now. So I'm pretty packed with my schedule, but let's go down this list really quick.
After the British Grand Prix last year, the drivers took their places in the media zone to conduct interviews with Formula One world champions Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, and Fernando Alonso among them. Yet it was all but impossible not to cast a glance sideways as Brad Pitt nonchalantly strolled out to face the microphones and cameras of his own entirely staged media scrum. None of us in the media pack openly goggled at the fact that Hollywood's A-list had joined the sweaty throng because Pitt was there filming what would become the F1 movie.
Okay, let's move down a little bit. And obviously the UFC has done this as well. When there was Hollywood movies filming where they need UFC scenes, they actually filmed it at the stadium with the real crowd, and they just either took a break or did it before or after. So
the production filmed at circuits on real race weekends for over 2 years. The APX team enjoyed their own pit garage, their own hospitality, and their own uniforms. With Pitt being filmed alongside real drivers and indeed the media around the grind and the paddock, the working area of the F1 team, the filmmakers were effectively embedded within this sport as its 11th team, perhaps as deeply as it is possible for an entity to go without actually being a real team.
Well, it's interesting. Over 2 years they were filming at real racetracks. That's a real commitment. Most filming is going to take between 6 and 12 months at the longest. So the fact that they were this committed to the authenticity is absolutely fantastic. And let's go down to the end of the article here.
So it says, purists will sniff at some of the pictures, deviations from certain aspects of F1's realities, and its concessions to dramatic and narrative convention to propel it as entertainment, but it was meant to be a blockbuster, not a documentary, and that's what matters to F1 and the producers. After the film screenings in the US, Apple Senior Vice President Eddie Q said that very few of those attending had previously seen an F1 race, but their reactions were instructive. When we finish and we ask how many of you would like to go see a race now, literally every single hand goes up, he said. We think there's a huge opportunity to grow the sport all over the world, and with this movie, I think it will do that.
Well, and it's not just F1. Racing as a sport and a culture is emerging immensely. I follow a lot of economics of sports and things like that, just like I kind of follow Hollywood. And the Daytona 500, we're breaking records this weekend. F1's breaking records on TV. This is emerging as one of the premier sports. I am not a big race fan, but I cover it in the sense that I follow the economics of sports, and F1 is emerging while the NBA is following. So I think this was a perfect selection, and it's being released at the perfect time to capitalize on a race fan base, which is really emerging into a new era. Okay, let's go into what could have been. And let's not forget an interview with a vampire. Brad Pitt played opposite of Tom Cruise in that movie.
So from Variety, Tom Cruise reunites with Brad Pitt at F1 premiere. Actors were supposed to race together in Ford versus Ferrari movie that got axed over budget.
Yeah, and I believe it ended up being Matt Damon in that movie with Christian Bale, wasn't it?
I don't remember the second guy.
I think it was Matt Damon, Christian Bale, but this would have been a good duo too. Actually, Matt Damon, Christian Bale worked very well in that movie. I would have liked to see Matt Damon maybe opposite Brad Pitt would have worked very well. Okay, let's read a little bit about this.
Tom Cruise made a surprise appearance at the F1 premiere in London, joining Brad Pitt on the red carpet as the two A-list stars posed for photographs together. It was a reunion 31 years in the making, as Pitt and Cruise starred together in Neil Jordan's 1994 horror classic Interview with the Vampire. Pitt made headlines earlier this month by telling E! News at the Mexico premiere for F1 that he would be interested in acting opposite Cruise again, though the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's Oscar winner is not too interested in matching Cruise's love for aerial stunts.
Yeah, so I think Brad Pitt's a little bit more calmed down, doesn't want to do stunts. Tom Cruise, that's what he's making his name for now. They did well in an Interview with a Vampire. That was also almost a 3-hour movie, so there was plenty of time for both stars to get their just due and their screen time. Trying to cram them into like an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 30 minutes. I don't know if you're going to be able to flesh out two characters in that amount of time. So I would like to see them in a movie together, maybe another Interview with a Vampire. Okay, let's go into what does Brad Pitt have kind of coming up over the next few years. And it's interesting here. Oh, no, it's going to be on my notes. So you're just going to read off of my notes that I gathered all of his confirmed film and rumored films. I actually think they're all confirmed, though.
Okay.
It's right on the side screen there.
So F1 confirmed release June 27, 2025.
So yeah, we all know F1 is out. It's looking big. So let's go into the next one here.
The Adventures of Cliff Booth, filming July 2025. Pitt reprises his Oscar-winning role as Cliff Booth from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in an episodic film written by Quentin Tarantino and directed by David Fincher. Described as not really a sequel, it's set for Netflix with filming starting summer 2025. No official title or release date yet.
And again, he's teaming up with Quentin Tarantino here, which I think is good, especially because I think later on in these movies, if I remember my notes correctly, he's going to be in Quentin Tarantino's rumored last film. Okay, let's continue to go here.
The Movie Critic, rumored release 2025. Pitt is reportedly set to star in Quentin Tarantino's final film, The Movie Critic, set in 1970s Southern California, centering on a cynical film reviewer. While not officially confirmed, multiple sources suggest Pitt's involvement. The film is slated for a 2025 theatrical release.
Yeah, and I would definitely, they said he's rumored to be in this movie. I think Quentin Tarantino's working with him again. He's worked a lot with Brad Pitt, and we know Quentin Tarantino likes to work with actors that he knows. He knows their range. He knows they can hit the marks that he needs, especially if it's his final film. Him and Brad Pitt have really grown close in the numbers of the movies they've done over the years. That previous movie that we talked about, ready for Netflix, is probably the test run to see if they want to confirm him for Tarantino's final movie. And if it is Tarantino's final movie, it looks a little bit boring just based on the plot to me, but it will make headlines because, again, it is Tarantino's final movie. Okay, let's continue.
Land of Opportunity, directed by Jeff Nichols. Dystopian film is set during the Great Depression and oil crisis, focusing on farmers resisting government crop seizures in Arkansas. Pitt is the only confirmed cast member, with filming planned for May 2024.
And I think this will be huge. I mean, a lot of people might not like the plot or the general thing because it's a period piece. That sounds fantastic to me. It pits farmers against the government. On our night show at 9:15, where we cover more politics, this is one of the touch subjects I'm always going on. And things like this are kind of emerging in the EU and the United States and all over the world right now. So this might be a great time to capitalize on a plot like that.
Heart of the Beast, filming underway. Pitt stars in this action-adventure directed by David Ayer, playing a former Army Special Forces soldier stranded in Alaskan wilderness with his combat dog. J.K. Simmons also cast. Filming is ongoing, but no release date announced.
Yeah, and that sounds like it could be very good to me. I'd be attracted to that movie as well. So the last two movies of the bunch that are coming up for him appeal to me the most. Trapped in the Wilderness can get kind of boring because the lack of locations and the lack of interaction with other actors, but we'll see what happens. I will probably most likely want to see that.
And Wolf sequel announced no specific timeline. Following the 2024 release of Wolves with George Clooney, a sequel is in development for Apple TV, with Pitt, Clooney, and director John Watts returning. Details are sparse, and no filming or release timeline has yet been confirmed.
Yeah, if any of the movies on there, that's the one I would drop. Attaching himself with Clooney, I don't think is a good idea right now. Clooney has been much too outspoken on politics. Any of the next films he does are going to be teetering on cancellation because of that. Brad Pitt may want to steer clear of George Clooney, at least in an actual film he's going to star with him in. Okay, that's it for Brad Pitt. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so. I'm trying to get to 1,000. The first 1,000 subscribers are the most important to a content creator because that's what helps us reach monetization.